Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Watcher of Realms video. Welcome back. And I want to say a massive thank you before we get into this video. We hit 10,000 subs yesterday, which I really appreciate. You know, the fact that we've only been doing it for a couple of weeks. Seems like the general consensus is people are loving the game, loving the kind of energy around the new videos and stuff. So I appreciate everyone that's subbed. By the way, 60% of you that watch the videos regularly didn't hit sub. Just do it. Just do it. Why not? It's free. Anyway, thank you so much for everyone that did. Right. Today, we've got a little sneak peek. So this popped in the Watcher of Realms update yesterday. And it actually wasn't part of the main update. So I just wanted to give people a heads up. This was like passed on to me by a very, very observant source. So literally, if you go into any form of mobile update and go into the details of it, says here we've got a new shard summon event for Aeon, the Mistress of Oblivion, who's actually an epic lord. So I'm assuming that it's probably going to be next week. We're going to have a fusion event running for a epic lord. The reason why this is so, I guess, so worthwhile getting your resources in order for is because lord bonuses can be extremely strong. Let's take a look at this hero. I do actually have this hero, which is cool, and it's one that I need to put some more work into, but she's definitely going to be a Guild Raid 1 like superstar for a lot of people that are playing the game. Mainly because of her faction here. So she's a cultist, and you know, if you didn't already pick up Morrigan, who was available, I think, from like a summoning event, maybe a 10 times quite recently. If you don't already have Morrigan, then you know, Aeon becomes really great for this faction. So her Lord ability here increases factions' basic attributes by 10%, fine. But the big one increases faction allies' damage dealt to enemies inflicted with stun, freeze, or immobilize by 20%. So 20% more damage if you've got a freeze running. And we'll go through her kit in a minute, why she's so valuable for that. So certainly if you've picked up heroes, I've actually got Zealous, who will be good for this, certainly for Guild Raid 1 as a combination. But there's a lot of AoE damage dealing mages in this faction. So yeah, a lot of people are probably gonna love it if they've got Verna and they use this kind of Lord bonus, because Verna's already kicking out a ton of damage. I have got Cerberus, who is good for Guild Raid 1 as well. But then if we get into some of the epics, most people that would spend any money in this game would have picked up Iona. And even if you didn't spend, you might have picked her up anyway. She's a really good AoE epic mage, well worth putting some effort into. So she would benefit. And obviously, there's people like Voltus who would be early game stuff as well. But yeah, certainly there's some really good heroes in this faction, and the faction bonus is very solid. If we then look at her skills in isolation, so she's got an ultimate here, Death Vortex, which gets a gravitating force. So she gets AoE damage over 4 seconds, which goes up, I believe, to 6. I thought it was 8 seconds, maybe it's 6. And the force pulls people in to like a center, which can be quite nice if you then pair it with heroes that are going to do damage and like a cone effect. But it also inflicts the slow. So she's going to give you the ability to give you the extra 20% of damage from her Lord skill through her ultimate. So she's giving that slow out there. And yeah, very, very solid. She's also got just general magic damage. And then she's got this vulnerability ability. So as well as the 20% extra damage, the vulnerability scales up with books to 20%, both physical and magic extra damage. A bit like what Mary does, I think. I think it's basically the same sort of thing. But her base stats are better. Her own damage is higher. So she's like an upgraded Mary with this effect. So I feel like this is someone that people are definitely going to want to pick up and, yeah, take advantage of, honestly. Also, if we look at her awakening stuff, so because you can through these events. I guess I'll show you what these events generally look like. So yeah, here's an idea of like a previous one when Aeon was actually available. This is right back in January. So I guess this was on like the Forerunner server or something like that. But they've done other ones recently. Just when I started the game, they were doing a different Lord. So I'm gutted that I wasn't around for, because actually that's a Lord that I really wanted. But yeah, you can see basically you get over the course of the event, if they do it the same way, the ability to pick up 150 fragments of this epic. And it costs 75 fragments to grab one. So potentially, if you just did the events that are available without getting extra fragments for winning events, which they do as well, you could get 2 copies. Yeah, so you could get her plus an Awakening level 1. So for an Awakening here, you get an improvement of the Death Vortex, the ultimate strength. So the pulling force is 2 times the strength and extends the duration. Then we get some stats. On Awakening 3, basic attack and skills increase the duration of the damage taken debuff. So that vulnerability debuff goes up. So that's where I could get her to if I picked up 2 more copies. Awakening 4, we've got the Rage regen going up. And then Awakening 5, 100% extra damage to controlled targets. So what's that? That's doubling your damage. Yeah, so definitely going to be one that's worth picking up. The Lord bonuses in themselves anyway are very solid, but it feels like there's definitely a few in this faction which are solid, and her kit is very, very cool. Interestingly, I was just on my Bucket's tier list here, seeing what he thought of different areas of the game that could be used for. So Aeon here coming in, A+ Guild Raid 1, an S- in the arena AoE kind of fight. Interestingly, I was just comparing to Mari actually. So he rates Mari higher in Guild Raid 1. I guess because instead of a slow, it's a straight, it's basically a stun on her freeze ability instead of the slow. But I feel like maybe they're almost the same, because you get the Lord bonus as well, which is pushing damage of other heroes. Could be wrong though, could be wrong. Obviously he's way more experienced than I am at the game. But yeah, it feels like there's just different areas where she's going to shine. And I guess in isolation, yeah, A's and B's and stuff. But in terms of the benefit she brings other heroes in that faction, that's really where you get your benefit from the Lords. So look, it's just to watch out for events that are coming down the line. Make sure you're ready. Make sure you save some of those juicy stamina pots and resources, because I feel like most people are going to want to pick up an Aeon for this event. Anyway, there you go, guys. I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you soon.